required as well. And I'll go back to that map real quick. So right now,
Dan?
the irrigation, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. When on the road thing, and you've got a lot of really great information here, the report references a stub road. And so when you're drawing that on the map, and I'm trying to look at the outline of what this 57 acres is, and then on the west portion of that little stub there is,
We got it.
that what you're drawing that line on, or is it a stub from Harvey up to Purple Sage? Where is Ranch Road in this proposal? Can you do that again, please?
Yeah, Ranch Road is right here.
Look on your,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, okay, so that,
All right.
And this would be a
That's
stub
easy.
right here.
Okay.
and I appreciate that. The lettering is very difficult. It's very small to see on that.
I apologize. Yeah.
Not a problem.
So Black Canyon Irrigation District doesn't oppose to this. They do require improvements to the lateral. And going back to that plat, you can see the existing head gates over here, and then they have a ditch or lateral that goes this way. So that will be relocated to the west boundary and then down south. And the developer would have to make those improvements. The irrigation district doesn't oppose to that. They just want to review prior to the submittal of a final plat to make sure those improvements are completed to their requirements.
Okay, Dan, question? I'm
okay.
Sorry. Go back to the last slide you were on. Okay, the line that comes in kind of like a triangle there. Yeah, that one that went away.
Yep.
That one has to be moved to the existing one that you left there.
Yeah, so I'll redo it again. So
Okay.
yeah, so that little arrow that going down, that's what's existing right now. That's the drainage that goes through the property. As part of this, they're going to have to relocate that to the western boundary and then follow it south. Again, the irrigation district has no issues with that. They just would have to do the required improvements for that. And so the piping that goes underneath there's existing piping underneath that would have to be removed. And so that's what they're proposing. If you need more detail, the applicant can probably add more detail to that. But again,
that's good. Thanks.
Irrigation district has no issues with that, subject to conditions requiring those improvements, the piping of that lateral to the west and the south there. And of course, a crossing agreement would also have to be required by the Bureau of Reclamation. This plat was reviewed by staff and Keller Associates, who are the county's consultant, engineer, and surveyor, and they found that the plat does meet our requirements subject to conditions. Staff is recommending that the Board of County Commissioners approve this preliminary plat. On February 20th, 2020, the Planning and Zoning Commission also recommended that the Board of County Commissioners approve this plat with the conditions shown on the screen, which is also on your FCOs. And the one thing Steph wants to explain on there, all of them are pretty standard except for number 8. And let me read it into the record. It says, at the time of final plat, the applicant shall remove lot number 20, which is a common lot, from the plat by either adjusting it into the adjacent parcel. I'm not reading it from verbatim right now, and I'll go to the map as as I explain this. But they need to adjust a parcel out of there. Let me show you what that is. So using my annotation device, that's lot 20. It's a common lot, and it's on the other side of the canal, or the lateral. And so it makes it very hard to maintain. And I'm going to go to another photo real quick so you can see the connection here. So that little piece is really on this other side here, which is better suited to be connected to this property to the west. And so as a condition, staff is saying, requesting or recommending that they do a property boundary adjustment, either gifting that or selling that to that owner, or obtaining some type of access so they can maintain that chunk, that little piece. So they would have to figure that out prior to submittal of final plat.
And Dan,
With that
Chair, how much is that triangle? What does that represent in terms of square feet or acreage?
Yeah, it's part of the.
1/8 of an acre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's very small.
Well, you see, those are 1 acre lots, so look at that compared to the 1 acre lots.
Yeah, so they already have a plan to adjust that. It's just, so that would be one of the conditions. Staff recommends that they fix that before submitting a final plat.
Okay.
And with that, staff recommends approval, and that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
No, I think it's a very clear presentation. Very good. Thank you.
There is a caller. The first numbers are 208-866.
That's Norm Brown.
That's Norm Brown. Okay, very good.
Norm Brown also.
Yep, I know. We've got that twice. Okay, very good. So at this time, Abby, you're going to speak for the applicant?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I don't have much to add. I think Dan had a great presentation. We've been before you guys multiple times on this project now, so I don't think I have much to add. I'll add a couple clarifications on some things. The road issues that Dan talked about with the highway district, I just want to confirm that we worked with the highway district and we're all on the same page that Ranch Road is going to be our north-south connection to Purple Sage. The lateral relocation that's going across the property that Dan showed is going to go along the west and south boundary. We're currently in the process of relocating that. We've been working with Black Canyon and have that application processing through the Bureau of Reclamation right now. So that's being taken care of and planning to construct that in the fall. So that explains why we did the phasing. We're going to be able to start constructing phase 1 while that lateral is being moved and then move on to phase 2. And then lot 20, it's just a small unusable portion of property where we're going to work with the neighbor to get that figured out. But I think I have to just wait till the plat processing to take care of that. So that's all I had. This is the same layout we've been showing you guys since the rezone and the development agreement and now the preliminary plat. I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Abby?
I don't have any questions.
There are no questions at this time, Abby. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tyler?
Unmute him.
Tyler Hess?
There you go. I was muted. Yep, I'm here.
Okay. We can hear you.
Oh, perfect. So I'm Tyler Hess Properties, 15031 Spyglass Lane, Caldwell, Idaho. So I'm actually a partner in on this with Spencer Cofed to purchase this property. So we've been working with the landowner Pete and his family and Norm Brown, and feel like they've done everything necessary for us to move forward. We're just attending this meeting and coordinated with engineers to phase this. It just made the best sense to get this phased so we can at least start. Yeah, perfect. Thanks for that, Dan. And thanks for all the work Dan did for us. But that phasing allows us to move forward and do those first 20 lots. And then we're going to be working with Pete on getting that pipe moved and relocated to the west of that property this fall once water's turned off. And anyways, we feel like it's a great project, great area. The layout seems to lay out really well for everyone. I think we can continue doing what we have been doing and work with Highway District. We've been working with them on making sure the roads and the roundabouts and the setbacks and easements are there for future connectivity and to allow. We are going to put a turn lane in coming into Ranch Road to allow for traffic easement and less risk. And I think outside of that, Dan covered, and we are looking forward to this project. We thank you guys for your time.
Very good. Tyler, I do have a question. On the
Yes.
Keller and Associates page, This is
Okay.
just my own curiosity. They have, a number 2, there appears to be a well of some type located on the property. Identify the well use and location, and will it remain in place or is it to be abandoned? Can you, does Dan, if maybe you need to weigh in here, I'm not sure, but I'm just really curious if you did find that well.
So that one might be Pete, the landowner might be able to help us, because I know we're doing our pressurized irrigation and we were looking to maybe
Okay.
use that well, but I think that's still some engineering work that needs to be confirmed. But I believe it's up
Okay, so-
towards Purple Sage, and that's where Pete, the landowner, could probably.
So, Pete, do you know where that well is? Oops, he's muted. You're muted.
Looks like Abby has a question. I don't know if you want me to unmute her.
Can you unmute Pete, or is he?
He muted himself.
Oh, Pete, can you unmute yourself?
There you go.
There, okay.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your patience.
Thank
Yes,
you.
there is, I believe, a test well on from the previous developer in 2001, right on the north side of the property, and it's marked with 3 crash posts, and it's not. Yeah, I think all it is a test well. So I just have to go around it every time I bail. I know that.
Okay, so it's going to be abandoned.
That's what I would assume.
No?
Yeah, Tyler could answer that.
Madam Chair, this is Dan
Yes.
Lister. So those 2 items have already been addressed and met. So Abby was able
Okay.
to identify that was going to be abandoned, and it's actually a note on the plat about that. And then also the bearings, the other condition has already been met.
Very good. Thank you, Dan, so much. Okay. Are there any other questions for Tyler or Pete
No, then, very
or
clear.
Abby or,
Yeah.
No, thank you. She
okay.
has her hand up.
Who does?
Abby?
Oh, Abby.
Oh, I was just gonna explain that, well, but I think Pete handled it. It's just a ground monitoring well, so they call it a well, but it's just a hole in the ground to see where the groundwater is. So yeah, that'll be removed and taken care of.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Just a hole in the ground.
Yes, okay.
Okay. I like that.
So, there is nobody else. I've not missed anybody nobody else wishing to speak? Hearing nobody.
Madam Chair, I move we close public comment.
Second.
Moved and seconded to close public comment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, yes.
I want to, first of all, preface this by saying that on the first pass on this, I did have some concerns on this being ag and Middleton's issue with transportation. Their school systems are overloaded, but I like the way that this has come back, and I believe the applicant and the developers have good intent in this area. This is in all that development in Middleton that people are looking to move to a good rural location. I like the builders on this and how it's represented. So given that those factors are really outside of the control of the developer and the personal property rights for the donor involved, and that they are ensuring that direct access onto Purple Sage, which is problematic in terms of accidents out there, but again, it looks like they're mitigating for those. I appreciate what's been put into this. It's got a 5-0 support from planning and zoning, so I'm going to be in support of this application.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Beek. Commissioner Dale?
Madam Chair, I have nothing to add to this. This has been well thought out and researched, and I appreciate Tyler and Abby and Pete, everybody who's working on this, really appreciate that. And I'll make the motion that we authorize the board to sign the preliminary plat for Green Hills Landing subdivision, case number SD 2018-0019. And also to sign findings of fact and conclusions of law and order. Yes.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
What? That's not listed here, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Moved and seconded to approve. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
And Madam Chair, just a question then for Trish. Will we need to at some point, or is there enough of a drainage and irrigation plan presented? Along this plan.
I think
Okay.
it's part of the preliminary plat.
Okay, thank you for that
Okay.
clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That would conclude this meeting.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.